oil. And it made me think, I mean, how many of us have been hit with such a blow, and then you still keep getting pressure added to what you're already going through?
My Lord.
I mean, Reverend Kine went up there to bury his grandmother, and then at the same time while he was down there, he lost his grandfather.
My Lord.
Jesus. So we're in this place. This is a garden, is a place of pressure. It's a place of suffering.
Yes.
God. Jesus was in, he said that his soul was so overwhelmed to the point of death.
My Lord.
To the point of death. So it's a place of suffering. It's also a place of treachery and betrayal, because this is where Judas identifies Christ to the officials with a kiss. My God, I saw something on Facebook the other day that said getting betrayed by one family member is worse than 5 enemies.
Amen.
Come on here. You got betrayed by somebody that was close. So
Yes,
just
sir.
imagine that agony and anguish. Of
Yes, sir.
somebody so close you've been riding with you for so long,
Yeah.
they turn you over to some false prosecutors.
My Lord.
Jesus. It's also a place of customary. This is where Jesus would take his disciples on the Mount of Olives and teach them there.
Yes.
But how many know that sometimes the enemy has to be with you so that they can point out where you're going to be to the enemy? So
All
that
right.
they can point out where you will be most vulnerable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it's also a place of hard decisions. And I kind of was wrestling with that because if you go back to the Old Testament and you see Adam in the Garden of Eden, that's where sin entered into man. And now this is a decision that Jesus had to step forward in faith so that we can be redeemed.
Yes. Bless it.
Does anybody have any gardens in their life that's like the one we're looking at in the text? Where you feel the pressures of life, where
Yes.
your friends and your family members, they betrayed you, they lied on you, they cheated on you, they did some things that were very hurtful.
My Lord.
My God. But let me add this as well. It's also a place of redemption. It's
Yes,
a
sir.
place of strength.
Yes, sir.
It's a place of obedience.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a place of love.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord.
And that really brings me to my first point this morning. I want you to see one of the traits that Jesus possessed. And this really just blew my mind a couple weeks ago. And this is Christ's display of obedience and submission. He was troubled in the garden.
Yes.
Troubled in the garden. And he asked God to take the cup away.
Yes, he did.
And why not? I sat there and I said, well, why wouldn't he ask? Because he's about to go and die for people that's about to betray him.
That's right.
He's about to die for his own people that's going to deny him.
That's right.
He's about to give up his life for people that's going to spit in his face and slap in his face. He's even going to die for those 2,000 years later who's still going to be committing sins.
Yeah.
He's got to die for all of that. And he's perfect. He's without sin. He's come down from glory.
Yes, he did.
And he says, Father, take this cup. It's too much right now. It's human nature. This is too much.
My Lord.
My God. So he's in the garden and he's dealing with this struggle. And I just wanted to know, how many people have dealt with some hard situations, some things where you were kind of just like, this is too tough to wrestle with. This is too hard to deal with.
Amen.
Yeah.
How many of us would die for our neighbor's fault, so that they can be free from their situation?
My Lord.
Yeah, I don't got nobody. I'm going to die for their neighbor because of what their neighbor did. My God, I love you, Jesus.
Amen.
Lord. So he
Glory to his
says,
name.
God, take this cup. If you are willing, take this cup from me. Not my will, Lord, but yours.
You're welcome.
And see, that's the issue with our characters now. We really need to pay close attention to what Christ is doing, because he said, not my will, Lord, but yours. That's our issue now.
Yes, it is.
We never want to make time for God's will.
My Lord.
When God says no, we say yes. And when he says yes, we don't want to follow through. But may I submit to you this morning that if things aren't working out in any area of your situation, you may need a will check. Tell somebody, I might need a will check.
I might need a will.
If the job isn't going well, did you put yourself there or did God put you there?
All right.
If the relationship isn't working out, did God ordain it or did you?
No, that's
My
right.
God. I know I've been in many relationships that God wasn't in.
All
And
right.
I kept hanging in there thinking it was going to change, but God said, you need to get up out of there
All right.
and come to what I called you to.
Amen.
Hallelujah. I thank God that somebody prayed for me during that time.
Hallelujah.
Lord, have mercy. Lord, I need a wheelchair. But Jesus is in this time, he's saying, even if I gotta die, no matter what the circumstance is, God, whatever your will is, let that be done.
Let that
Putting God's will first. And we need to pay close attention to that because, as I said before, many of us, we find ourselves in hard situations because
Yes.
we're trying to do it ourselves.
Hello.
We're not allowing God to lead us and to guide us. And if we can just grasp this trait alone, we would be in far better situations.
Yes.
Point number 2 this morning. Lord, this just, again, like I said, it blew my mind. The trait of composure. Christ had this spirit of composure through all this adversity that he was facing. So he's in the garden, but he's composed.
Bless it.
He was in a place of pressure and havoc. He had this spirit of composure. It's very, very funny to me because, excuse me, today, we're going to be high in the Lord, and then tomorrow we're going to go into our work week, and somebody's going to cut us off, and we're going to get right in front of them and cuss them out and throw the finger up, or you're going to hold the door open for somebody, they ain't going to say thank you, and
Tell it.
you're going to cuss them out of your head again.
Tell it.
Somebody going to talk about you behind your back, and you're going to be ready to fight.
Tell it.
If we being honest, that's the truth.
Tell it.
And Jesus is in this place, and he's composed.
Yes.
His disciples is acting out. If you keep on reading, if you read your Bible, you'll see when they arrest him, Peter's cutting off ears.
Yes, he is.
Other disciples are contemplating, do we fight or run? And Christ is sitting there composed and correcting his disciples right in the face of adversity. Now, whatever your core is, if you're a teacher, if you're a basketball player, whatever the case may be, when you get a little adversity, it throws you off your game.
Yes, sir.
If you're a teacher, you can't teach correctly, but Jesus in that time, he said, listen, if you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword.
Well.
He's still teaching.
Yeah.
And it bothered me. I said, my God, he has 600 people sitting there trying to arrest him. He got his disciples acting out. One of his disciples just betrayed him, and he's calm.
Yes.
Jesus. He's calm. He demonstrated great poise in the face of adversity.
Amen.
But first, I want you to get this. He had to go before God.
Yes, he did.
When you go before God, he releases things that you can't get on your own doing,
Amen.
on your own will.
That's how God.
In Luke, it says it like this, is after asking for the cup to be taken away, an angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. See, he was in prayer not one time, but he went a second time, and he went a third time, still troubled, and an angel came and strengthened him. Sometimes you got to press a little deeper.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to go a little farther than just that 20-minute prayer you normally do. Sometimes you got to sit on your knees for an hour and just bask in his presence until he gives you what you need.
Thank you, Jesus.
And he gave Christ strength to endure this. So when he comes out of this prayer, he's in a different manner. He's in a different deposition. At first, he's falling to the ground on his face, looking for help from God and anguish. The Bible in the book of Luke, it also says that it was so much that it was like he was dripping blood. His sweat was like blood. That's how much of sorrow, that's how much weight he was carrying.
Yes.
That his sweat was like blood.
Yes.
And he comes out of this prayer and he has a different manner. Let me show you when I go back to the text here. It says, then he returned to his disciples and said to them, are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer. I like how another version says, where it says, behold, just draw your attention here that the betrayers are coming. Now this is a different manner than when he first got into the garden. This is the strength that the angel gave Christ.
Amen.
Because Christ knows that he's about to get crucified. He knows all these things that are about to happen to him. But he does it anyway. He steps into the garden anyway. He says, look, the 600 men, they're about to come and take us. It's only a few of us, but let's go forward. And I laughed at this because I said, man, when I was younger, if it was me and a couple of my boys and we saw about 7 people trying to jump us, we was going to get up out of here. You know, if you see a whole gang of people coming at you, all right, we can't win this fight. We'll run and come back, get the crew, and then come back and fight them. But
Amen.
Right.
Jesus says, look, behold, my betrayer's coming. And he got all these officials, 300 to 600 men, but let's go forward.
Yeah.
He's composed.
Yes.
My God, he's composed
Bless
under
him.
pressure.
Bless him.
He goes forward.
Yeah.
So he's in this place with 600 men, and it's only a few of them. And he's calm. I said, my God, you about to die for these same people that's coming to arrest you now. But you're composed. And he's teaching Peter not to live by the sword.
Yes.
And what that was saying, what he was saying in that is, no matter what circumstances you're in, I'm still going to be a teacher. I'm going to be a teacher when it's calm. I'm going to be a teacher when it's chaos.
Bless him.
Amen. Amen.
At the time he healed the ear of Malchus, he said, yeah, I'm going to be a healer in all circumstances.
Yes.
It might not look like it could be healed, but I'm a healer no matter what. Whether you're on your dying bed, no matter if it's cancer, no matter if it's the flu, it doesn't matter what it is, I'm a healer in all situations.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Glory to God.
I'm a healer when you think it can't be healed. Stay composed. Stay composed. If God is for you, who can be against you?
Amen.
Stay
Amen.
composed. Hallelujah. Tell somebody, say, stay composed.
Stay composed.
My
Stay
God.
composed.
And thirdly, this last one I want to bring to you is love in action. Love in action. Many of us are quick to say we love and, oh, I love you, baby, I love you, honey, or yes, I love you. But when it comes time to do it in action, we kind of fold.
Right. All right.
Now, if you're married, like my wife, she'll ask me to do something, and, you know, I might cringe sometimes. I don't want to do this right now. You know, but Christ didn't, he didn't have that. He didn't have that. He actually stepped in boldness.
Amen.
Or maybe, you know, you say, honey, I love you. And then she said, well, can you give me a back rub? Can you rub my feet? And you make that little face, I don't want to do this right now. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't get nobody. But what Jesus does is true, pure love. Pure love. And we see it as he steps into this garden. Sometimes people ask us for things, and out of the goodness of our hearts, we will do it. But then at a later point, it kind of comes up as, okay, now we need you to come back and return. Okay, I lent you $10. You know, is you gonna get that back to me? Or I gave you this, can you give it back to me? But not Christ. He didn't say when I die for you, you know, you gotta pay me for this or you gotta do this. We didn't have to pay for none of this.
My
Oh
Lord.
God,
My
glory
Lord.
be unto your
Thank you,
name.
Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He gave it to us how freely, out of
Yes.
grace.
Thank you, Lord.
Out of grace.
Thank you.
My God, out of grace he gave it to us. So he steps into the garden, and he knew that his action of stepping into the garden was submission and obedience to God's will, and everything that will follow after would be his crucifixion. It would be his death. It would be him dying and rising up so that we can have life to the fullest.
Hallelujah.
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 Thank you, Lord.
That is his love by stepping into this garden, knowing what was before him. And I'm so glad that he went before God before he went through the garden.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
He went before God before going through the garden.
Amen.
Just imagine had he not gone and got that strength. Christ could have easily just given up when Peter denied him. Said, no, I'm not going to die for him. He don't even claim me.
Yeah.
He could have given up when Judas identified him with a kiss.
Yeah.
How many in here, if somebody goes across your back and does something against you, is you going to just, come here, give me a hug? We still brothers. No, it's going to be fights. But Christ went before God.
Yes.
And God gave him strength
Thank
to
you.
endure the cross.
Yes.
Yeah.
To endure.
Hallelujah, to endure the
Yes,
cross.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
To endure the
Yes,
cross.
sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
My God. This is love in action. It's demonstrated. He says, get up, let us rise.
Yeah.
He's talking about the actions of love because he knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
He says, let's go before them. Yes, they're coming to get me, but we're going to go do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to go before God so that we
Yeah.
can get the strength to endure whatever our situations is. We got to go before God to endure whatever our situations
Yes,
is.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
Hallelujah. I don't know what your garden is looking like this morning. I don't know the pain that you're going through. I don't know the heartaches that you've been through, the betrayals in your life. I don't know what's been done to you, but if we take on these traits that Christ possessed in this moment in the garden as he's before God, we can endure some of these things in our life. If we can get that trait of obedience and submission to his
Yeah.
will,
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
right? If we can have that spirit of composure,
My Lord.
if we can have love in action, things will be so much better.
Yes.
But we must go before God.
Yes.
Hallelujah. We must go before God.
Yes.
Before you get into any relationship,
Yeah.
go before God and make sure that this is the one He's called you, man. Before you take that job opportunity because the salary looks good, make sure it's God's increase and not your own.
All right.
Before you get with that business partner, make sure that this is God ordained. Because that partner might be looking to get out quick and leaving you high and dry.
Amen.
Before you do anything, before you go through your purpose, whatever that thing may be, you must go before God before going out. Before you go to your job, go before God and say, Lord, pave my way in the blood of the Lamb.
Yeah.
That no hurt or harm will come upon me.
Yes, yes.
Go before God for your family and your children.
I know.
Go before God as they go off to college and schools in different countries.
Yes,
go,
Lord.
go before God to know that they're going to the right school, that this
Yeah.
school ain't going to be shot up, that this school ain't
That's
going
our
to be
God.
tortured, and they're going to be killed. Go before
Yeah.
God.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And when you go before God,
Yeah.
and when He strengthens you, when He sends the Comforter to strengthen you, you can
Yeah.
say things that like weeping may endure for a night.
All
but
right.
joy
All right.
comes in the morning.
Yes.
You can say that I can do all things through Christ.
Yeah.
Who strengthens me. You can say,
Hallelujah.
you can say all of these beautiful things that
Yeah.
God has given you
Yeah.
so that you can endure whatever your garden is.
That's it.
Hallelujah.
Glory to
Before
God.
you go
Glory.
before the Lord. God bless you.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.